getting the black pieces and opponent going for e4. We're gonna be sticking with the Caro-Kann, at least for now, and it looks like we're seeing a pretty strange looking second move, knight f3. This could actually be a line if opponent goes ed, cd, and knight e5. That is actually played even by Magnus Carlsen, but most people either go e5 or ed, and then they play it worse. So we're just gonna go d5 and actually end up seeing the two knights, which is something very possible, of course. Even from this move order, they could also start with knight c3 and against d5, knight f3, just transposing to the two knights. And against this, actually, one of my favorite lines in this position is to just go for g6 and transpose to a pretty good version of the Gurgian needs. But I think for this video series, we're going to be sticking with the simplest move, which is d takes on e4, and then just trying to get back into the Tartakower structure after the move knight f6. So we see queen e2. This is going to be interesting. Looks like opponent is pretty well booked up. Normally, most opponent of this elo would play knight takes and then pawn takes, and most likely we're going to get a transposition into the classical lines. But queen e2 is actually the new theory. Very interesting stuff with the idea that, okay, they're threatening to take and we won't be able to take back with a pawn because of the pin. So against this, black has many options, many interesting sidelines. I think I'm just going to be sticking with one of the most standard main lines. I'm going to be taking on e4, and then I think I'm going to be playing queen a5. And in this position, most people play bishop c4. Queen f4, though, is a pretty tricky one. It's a pretty annoying line for me, personally. I think that's weird queen-looking move is the best try, objectively speaking, in this position for white. Black should be fine if you remember, like, a number of precise moves, and I remember analyzing a position where black is up a pawn, and computer evaluating it at equal, but definitely very tricky to play. That doesn't happen, luckily. Opponent just goes c3, and now you get to see the goal of my previous move, because this square is controlled and we can develop the bishop on. Pretty good square, hitting the enemy queen, getting a tempo. Idea is to play e6 after that. Simply continue development without having the bishop inside the pawn chain, because e6 here is what maybe a lot of newer players will do, and they end up with a passive bishop. So bishop f5, pretty good, just activating and hitting the queen. Just go e6, making sure the bishop stays well protected, and also preparing to finish development, get ourselves castled. So far, this is very standard for the line. Could also start with bishop e7 or with knight d7, perhaps avoiding some kind of knight e5 move. I think we like knight d7, even though I think both are perfectly fine. Just gonna do the knight first, then bishop, then we castle, and we're gonna be having a pretty even position. But we'll see. It's gonna be a pretty interesting game, I think. White's queen is, not really placed on the most standard square, and already the opponent decides to make it interesting and throw in this g4 move. We don't have much of an alternative but to play bishop g6. Going bishop c2 is definitely a little bit too wild, especially in this position. So just step back, make sure you don't lose the bishop. Idea to go bishop e7, then okay, never mind, h4, threatening this, and the bishop won't have a great square. Now, basically we've got a choice. I think first two moves to be considered are either h5, h6, and queen d5, with the idea that against h5 we have queen e4, forcing an endgame, and all these kind of endgames generally in the Caro-Kann are quite okay for black. If you can trade queens early on, rarely you're gonna be worse. So I tend to believe h5 is the best move, just going for the aggressive stuff, forcing g5, fixing their pawns. After that, it feels like White is left with a lot of vulnerable squares. Um, h6 also fine, a little bit more like flexible. Queen d5 very reasonable as well. Really, I'm loving all the options that we have. We'll also do h5 and then queen d5. Maybe that's even better because this way we get to fix white's pawns. So just gonna start it this way, and on g5 we get an additional option of maybe queen f5 directly offering the queen trade. So yeah, let's see. I'm like really expecting g5. Taking will simply leave white with a pretty ugly pawn structure. So I think g5 is kind of forced. I definitely believe that this h4 g4 play was a little bit rushed and it shouldn't necessarily be objectively good for white, but we'll see whether I manage to punish it or not. So opponent just got nice g5, not really creating any threats since we're very well protected on f7. Thinking to just take on g4, and then I'm wondering, is h5 ever a problem? I mean, at the very least there's bishop f5. We can probably just take that pawn with rook takes on h5, so I think here is just time to take. Expecting maybe queen takes, and after that, I think we're just gonna be going for the Caro-Kann kind of endgame with a better pawn structure. Just try to squeeze my opponent slowly. It is definitely not the most entertaining game ever, but I think it can be a pretty useful tool that can potentially give you a lot of rating points in the long run. So definitely considering that. Queen g4 knight f6 is also little tempting because it's a tempo move, but yeah, mainly considering this because I don't really see such a great way for white to avoid the queen trade. Like they could either play queen e2 and that looks a little bit clumsy, or they can play queen g3, which is maybe what my opponent will play. Against that though, I think can simply maybe long castle followed by e5 break. So yeah, I'm like really considering the move queen f5 here. I think we're gonna end up playing it. Just because if we end up trading queens, I think it's gonna be a pretty nice and risk-free push with this pawn being, you know, already isolated, potentially very, very vulnerable. With the bishop e7 next. The only issue that I have is I would love to long castle, but then f7 pawn needs to be protected. So let's see. Okay, I'm expecting opponent to develop some pieces or move f4. Why not? Okay. Now, we could definitely throw in stuff like f6, kick the knight back, bishop e4, hope to win immediately. I don't think that's really what I want though. Not like it's winning, but maybe f6 is actually a pretty clever move just because we're getting rid of the annoying knight and we will no longer have that problem when castling. So I think just f6 to get rid of the knight. They're gonna go back and king f7, interesting move. Can also simply long castle. Do I want the king on f7 or on c8? On f7 it's potentially protecting e6, so maybe from that perspective it could be a better square. So I think I'm just gonna do that. And now, yeah, I'll just need to speed up a bit with this. I think king f7 from that logic of king protecting the pawn. Not like it's really needed now, but in the long run could potentially be pretty nice. Bishop developing on the most active square. And we want to double up. I think rook h7, rook h5, bishop e2. Rook was potentially a bit vulnerable. So we're just gonna do this. He plays bishop h3, can definitely exchange, can also let him take. I think we're gonna let him take, just because it's gonna give me a pretty nice pawn here controlling these squares. If d5, I wanna block it with c5. Now, we'll need another attacker here, so considering a maneuver to bring the knight to g6, hitting both pawns. These pawns are isolated, meaning that they can't be protected by other pawns, so this just makes them pretty obvious targets. But there's a catch, because if, opponent has isolated pawns and you cannot attack them, they might not be a problem. Like, this kind of principle only applies, something is weak only if you can attack it, basically. That's kind of the rule. Just gonna get a knight to g6. d5 is still gonna be met by c5. Bishop's protecting that. We don't want to allow opponent to open up files, and we just want to do this. Cash in that h-pawn. Double attack, most likely winning a pawn. d5 still c5, and on b4 maybe just play b6. Could also very well take. Both moves seem playable. I think on b4 there we just take and take on h4. I think opponent's not in time with any counterplay. Yeah, we see d5, gonna do c5 like I promised, and on b4, if I play b6, I'm afraid he is in time to take and play rook b1. Try to activate. So now we're just gonna take and gonna pick up the h4 pawn. This is also takeable, but I think we're fine giving up a7 because we're gonna be winning f4 as well. So now we're attacking his rook. He's gonna trade, expecting him to grab that, but now the f pawn is waiting to be captured. Gonna take it with the rook. Make his life harder in pushing c4. He's offering the bishop trade. I could play king e7. I think that's something that I like. He could give me a check, but then rook e4 is pretty strong. Pretty interesting endgame. I could also take and just play rook c4, d6, king e8, and that should be a winning endgame because I think we're winning his pawn. I think that's cleanest. I think we're gonna do that. Wait, so d6, king e8, he's got rook d5. Wait a minute, I don't like that. So what else? Yeah, I think I just play king e7 here. Rook e1, rook e4, and he plays yeah, king b3. I was thinking b5. Still has rook there. Yeah, now that he trades and he plays rook d4, okay, this is literally similar to resignation, so just gonna be taking, capturing d5, push the pawns. Yeah, he should have definitely not played that move. I think that move shows that people in these ratings are pretty vulnerable in endgames, and that's why you want to be good at endgames, because it's something that they're lacking. I'm not saying study only endgames, but think about being good at endgames. Imagine being good at endgames. Hey, welcome Dominic, Michael, how's it going, guys? Thank you, welcome. I've been waiting for the tip of the day and just got it. Do things that you like. Yes, of course. Why would you do otherwise? So yeah, here I'm not like sure. I'm pretty sure there's something good that we have. I think everything was pretty well played. Not CB? Huh. Wow, apparently this is just a draw somehow. Knight b6 was a good move with knight e5 apparently. This was a bit slow. He actually got this great idea to get counterplay. That was very well played by opponent. Yeah, so to be honest, I think, yeah, this was a draw if he plays rook a1. I wasn't actually sure how to deal with this. I realized it sort of last minute. But okay, like, he takes, which is clearly bad. Now, this is obviously lost because my king's too active, and if he tries that, I have b5, I think, and that just wins. Stopping his pawns, and then we push. But when he plays rook d4, I mean, in what world is this endgame good for white? Also, you can't come up with the argument that, okay, he was in a time trouble. He was not. I was in a time trouble. You can see the time. He had literally all the time in the world to think about this position, and he just played rook d4. Crazy stuff. Absolutely insane. All right, got the game though. Opponent played pretty well for like a long period of moves. It was, yeah, kind of equal, I think. Yeah, Queen F5, not so great. But I really wanted to get it into this endgame. I knew it's not the only option, but to me it felt like pretty instructive. Okay, if we can just go for the next game. Okay, we're getting the black pieces. And facing one e4. Gonna be going for a little Caro. And I'm smelling an advance, but it actually ends up being the exchange. So I'm just gonna be taking, plays bishop d3. Now, am I gonna play my pet line with knight f6, or will I play it with knight c6? I think I'll do the pet line. I'll do this first, and in case he plays c3, I'm gonna do the bishop move. That's what Alireza Zafiruja plays. Okay? Opponent goes h3. This is actually one of the best lines that black has. I mean, what white has. Forgot how to speak. And I'm just gonna try him out with g6. I'm gonna give him a little bait with bishop f5. Let's see. So we're gonna do this. And now the idea for white is to castle and not take. If they take, that actually gives us a great game. Play e6, knight e4, rook g8, just such a nice position really. Maybe we can even start with queen c7 stopping bishop f4 in some positions. So yeah, this in particular is even nicer to see because it makes knight e4 stronger. I just had so many easy wins from this position. It's just like a dream scenario when they take there. Like generally, you have to be careful when playing this exchange because the bishop is on f8. When the bishop is on g7, it's kind of slightly worse. But now we get active ideas such as rook g8, for instance, in this position, hitting the pawn on g2. Castling is always gonna lead to some nice attacking chances for us. Other than that, it's pretty hard to protect the g2 pawn really. And I think I could just be playing queen c7, e6, bishop d6 next. Just don't start with e6 because bishop's there. So okay, imagine they have to play rook g1, then that's already pretty clumsy. Just queen c7, e6, and in all this time, the knight on e4 is just a beast. I mean, how strong of a knight, really? Okay, we could do queen d6, queen g6 as well. Just try to go for like the immediate checkmate. Do we want to play it? I think it looks interesting. Let's try it. I think it's adding some really nice pressure on the king side. Expecting that move, threatening mate. Now is probably gonna do g3. I don't see anything apart from that, and then I just wanna go e6, bishop d6, and take there. Now, g3, maybe there's like an f4 move. That's even better, but we're just gonna focus on developing our stuff. Keep it very simple. Whenever they take, we take with the f-pawn. And I think slowly but surely we should be delivering checkmate. Wait, so he's trying to get some counterplay. That's not nice. Can I still do this? And cd5, knight g3? That feels mating to me. Also could do bishop g3. No, I think we'll just play this. cd5, just bishop g3. Don't even calculate it. Gotta be feeling the checkmate. Do you guys feel the checkmate? I think I feel the checkmate. So he takes, could just take this way. I don't think we need to take with the d pawn really. So this is under pressure. Maybe we'll see knight h2. Oh no, so he just takes. Now takes might be a bit messy, so thinking just to take back. This is still under attack. That's rimmed. That's pretty funny. Yeah, still expecting this. 92 just drops d4 pawn. Not sure I'll take it, but expecting these. How comes there's no like mating sacrifice? That's like insane. Let's just play f5. Will he play queen b3? Maybe he will play queen b3. Can start queen e6 and just like hitting this pawn. Maybe he's got knight g4. Some hidden resources. Oh my god, what's going on? Okay. Queen g7 this should be easily winning. Don't really want to play queen g7 here though. I don't think we need moves such as queen g7. So okay, what else? So f5, queen b3. How do we deal with that? Pretty sure there's like a win in 2 moves that I'm too lazy to calculate. Okay, maybe just queen f7 and protect everything. Yeah, so here just these and cover both. That's beautiful. Also taking away g4 square. No knight hopping around. So yeah, just protecting both. This is under attack now. Expecting rook a d1, but then maybe f4. Our king is okay in the middle. Let's see. So just king h1. That is definitely free to take. Do we need that kind of pawn? I don't think we like really need it. I want to go f4 now. Can he go knight g4? I kind of don't want to allow it. Don't want to allow any kind of activity. h5 from that perspective could be an idea, but feels a bit slow. On the other hand, winning a pawn such as the one on d4 is pretty juicy. Not gonna lie. Okay, I think we're taking. I think here we're taking. We might regret it, but we're taking. On check, there's knight back. That rimmed again. Oh my god, what's going on? I think I should change profession and start writing stuff. Kind of already doing that, but not this way. Okay, rook d1. What is he doing? Nothing. We can play d4, but then rook takes, so that's no good. You see, guys, instantly regretting what I did. Alright, what else? We should be having great position, though. Do I want to just go there and push d4? Pretty odd that my king is kind of in the middle. King is literally in the middle of nowhere. But I just want to play king here. I don't think we do that. Maybe he wants also to play queen b5. Okay, is this like ever a good idea? He just takes and then we don't have a great way to recapture. Can we play f4? I think we should have done that previously if I really wanted to. I think taking was perhaps inaccuracy. Not sure. Not sure about that. So okay, I think we like bishop e5 simply. Queen b5, just d4. He literally has no threats. Depending to push and bishop covers it. Should have played that faster. Now, if he ever plays f4, then this pawn means it's weak forever, so don't think we mind that either. So he's hitting on the pawn. I think we can just push. I don't see any problem with that. It's well protected. Maybe he wants rook c1. Oh my god, I blundered rook c1. I knew I had to start with rook g6. Now rook c1 feels pretty strong for my opponent. Luckily he misses it. I think rook c1 was hell of a move there. Again, this we can just like move back somewhere. Oh, wait, can we? Yeah, okay, we have to go back to H8. Back to the roots. Keeping this defended. Now rook c1 no longer comes up with the same effect as there's no hanging bishop. So somehow I did not find a way to mate my opponent there, which is pretty embarrassing and all that. But with a little help, I think we still got winning position. Just need not to blunder this and play rook c8. He's still like playing down a knight basically, and I've got like two connected passers, which are looking pretty good. Okay, that's a great move that I missed. Oh my gosh. I'm not liking what's happening, and I don't see a way to force queens off like I would normally do. Maybe you have this though. There's no way for him to like continue this kind of aggressive play. I don't like it when opponents are aggressive. I just like them very passive and quiet. I don't like what this guy is trying to do. But after a6, I think he's no longer gonna be threatening this pawn. Okay, goes queen back. Now he's got no threat. Finally, some time for us to breathe. Alright, how do we push? Maybe we don't push. Can I just play bishop f6 and get rid of that super annoying bishop? No, that's blundering f5. What am I doing? Come on, we need to figure this out. Queen d7, is that like a move? Just unpinning? Can that be a decent idea? I hope so. I think we're just gonna be playing that. Wait, is he gonna go g4 and queen f7? I swear this is the most confusing game that I've ever played. He might be going g4 and we might be defenseless. Okay, defenseless, it's a bit too much to say. Let's just play queen d7. I don't know. Let's just gamble it. Let's just play whatever moves. Come on, opponent. Stop making good moves. What is he doing? He's been playing a lot of good moves recently after he got like a really bad opening. Can we do d3? Can go rook sack. Kind of doubt it should work, but you never know until you calculate. See, I'll just go d3. I refuse to believe in the rook sack for 2 pawns. Maybe it's actually interesting. I think like we're gonna play knight e5 at the very least. Kind of counting on that to survive. Okay, goes queen back. Okay, I like to see passive retreat. Just knight e4 now. Activating the knight, offering a little trade. Oh, by the way, I almost ran out of time and missed this check, of course. Did I just blunder my whole position? He can take on h7 next, and I'm gonna be like running out of pieces. Oh my goodness, what is going on? The opponent, don't hurt me. Wait. Okay. Panic move. Queen g6, king f8. Hold. Queen d6, king g8. Okay guys, this is now the biggest mess that I've ever seen. But we've got some passers. If we're not getting mated in the process, we should be doing okay. Pretty decent odds of getting mated though. Would be lying if I said no. Okay, king, can give a check and then king. It's maybe safe. Rook under attack, rook d1, I want to do e3. Maybe that's not the most precise one, but it's the most beautiful one. Okay, queen c1 looks good. Okay, e3 can't be a bad move. Come on, like knight f3 takes and trade queen, then we win. That would be nice, actually. Threat is this. This would be beautiful. Yeah, we just take and play queen c6, I think. Could also do e2. No, we just take. Takes with the queen and then queen c6 and we calm him down. Okay, opponent, calm down, please. We've got the 2 pawns. No counterplay against the 2 pawns. He got close though. He got pretty close. You can try king g2, but that's not saving. Problem with king g2 is there was e2. Okay, good luck stopping these pawns. Alright, maybe this was not like the most precise game of all time, but I think it ended up being a pretty fun one nevertheless. Alright, getting the black pieces, opponent going for e4. Gonna be sticking with the solid Caro-Kann. Okay, still we're no longer getting the advance. So by the way, pretty fun fact. It's not so often that we actually got to see knight c3 in these rating climbs so far. So keep in mind, we're almost approaching 1500. And it's not that common we get to see the Tartakower structure, which is interesting. Maybe it's just a matter of variance. I think you should still be equally prepared against this move. So you have to basically in this position know both e5, ed, okay, and knight c3, like the move that was played. And also know a little bit of fantasy because it gets played occasionally. So after knight takes, pawn takes, opponent goes bishop c4. I'm wondering whether he has in mind to give me a check. If I can recall it correctly, I think Erwin Lamy recommends knight e6 in this position, which is just sort of a clever move delaying like development of the bishop with idea to meet queen e2 with bishop e7 and save a tempo. I think maybe bishop d6, queen e2, bishop e7 might be recommended in Stielitsky's course, just to sort of deal with that check easier. Again, take that with a grain of salt because I don't actually remember this by heart. I just looked at it at some point. Just trying to figure it out on my own. He goes for this. I think I can just castle and then play rook e8. I don't think we need to be afraid of such things because there is simply a g6 type of move. Against the knight, we could give a check, followed by bishop e6. I think check is kind of normal. Just the bishop e6 after that. Trading light squared bishops is, I think, pretty okay trade in this structure. And just here, if bishop d3, just do g6. Hitting on h7. Oh, I think I've got a trick. I think we're gonna do this. But then knight g5 is a little bit annoying. Come on. This would be such a dirty trick because we have check on a5 and pick up the bishop. I really want to make that work. So f5, knight g5, threatening mate in 1. We have h6, knight e6, rook e6 is just bad. Oh my god. I'm so sad we cannot set up something like that, man. Oh my god, we just have to play the solid g6. That's fine by me. Now, can do bishop f8, could do bishop d5 as well. Do I need to be worried about any kind of potential h4, h5? Could always just get rid of his queen if I want. Let's play this first. He's just going long. This is announced to be a pretty double-edged game, I think. Well, can we simply take that? That would be a pretty funny pawn to take. Like b3, bishop a3 check. But I could also maybe just go queen a5. Forcing a3 and then bishop takes. Is that like any good? Man, I really want to grab. I don't think I'm supposed to grab. So like b3, a5, king b2, a4, king takes, a b3. That looks too much fun. Okay, guys. Gotta go for it. Gotta go for the Bobby Fischer move. There is check, king d2, but then both my bishops are bad. So I think a5 is the point. And to me, it feels like his king is gonna be very weak after collecting my bishop. This is not based on any calculation. It's pure intuition, so it's probably bad. But once in a while, we might be getting the checkmate, so I think opponent played it a bit too confident and it's about to get mated with more time on the clock compared to what he started with. So let's get a nice little checkmate here. So I'm actually curious whether I think that pawn was appropriate or not. It's definitely pretty bold decision by my side. Yeah, apparently computer allows it. I mean, approves it. And b3 is a mistake. Yeah, a5 is good move. No, I think this was actually a decent game. Got a 90, so cannot really complain. Cannot really complain about that. All right, we're getting the black pieces. Are we gonna face e4 once again? Yeah, e4 it is. So common for low-rated games. Rarely anybody plays d4. So, yeah, just gonna be going for the Caro-Kann and be ready. You're about to see a checkmate in 6 moves. So, we're gonna be playing the Twisted Fantasy against the Fantasy, which is an opening that I'm quite familiar with. I have a chessable course for the white side. And I think this is actually a pretty tricky line. This is what I normally recommend to my students. And most of them end up just getting really hilarious checkmates very quickly. So that's mostly happening when they take though. Come on, this cannot be played. Okay, let's do queen b6. Still hoping for that action. Hitting d4. To be honest, here we can go ed and we're fine. Like most people go d5, bishop c5. We go queen b6, bishop f2, queen e3, checkmate. That happens a lot. Still hoping for it here. Trying to get that. We'll see whether we can get it or not, but anyways, it's gonna be like pretty fun. Now they have knight e2 though, which is with the bishop on f1 losing because after check, king d2 only move queen e3 mate. Now, knight e2 check, there's king f1 and white is okay, maybe even better. Plays queen e2, but that actually drops the knight, which we're gonna gladly accept. So yeah, somehow the variation works out, but not really the way I wanted it to be. Was hoping for an earlier mate, so hopefully opponent please play queen d1 so I can show the nice checkmate on the board. Maybe you just have to ask for it and it happens. Doesn't seem to be the case. Just gonna recap. Bishop's well defended. Plays knight c3. Is that a problem? Just protect. On knight a4 there's check simply. Maybe bishop b5 I underestimated with knight a4. Maybe not too late to blunder this. Okay, bishop b5, bishop d7 is accurate. That should be winning. Quite easily, I would say. Fischer said he can give some advantage to Spassky and still win. Not sure really what to believe. I mean, he kind of thinks that, but he also wants to beat Spassky like really badly, so I think it's more likely he would like to adopt him than to make the match more interesting. Even if did not really ended up being interesting because Fischer won in like very convincing fashion. After losing the first game, he ended up not like showing up to the playing venue in the second game and still later on crush Spassky with openings such as the Caro-Kann or these kind of stuff. So maybe the best time to leave in as a chess player during the Fischer Spassky match. I don't think you're gonna get better entertainment in terms of World Championship matches ever again. I don't think to that degree. Maybe I don't know when Firouzja will play Gukesh or stuff like that. Maybe that will be similar, but still, I think not as entertaining. The game is just not that fun as it was before, I think, just because Fury developed so much and it's just incentivizing so many quick draws. I truly believe the future of chess stays in rapid chess, though, and not in these long time formats. I think the long time formats are like really not practical for growing chess, both to watch and to play also. Queen's Gambit's entertaining for everyone. Okay, I think with that you mean the movie? Yeah, I think it is entertaining for everyone. To be honest, I'm not like super familiar with what happened. Like I haven't watched the whole thing, but still it's kind of quick action, isn't it? Queen's Gambit is not really about playing long games, is it? It's like action and a lot of stuff going on. Definitely what you see in rapid chess and not in classical. Just play knight c6, maybe castle. Wait, so we see bishop b5? Can just castle. Alright, so we're playing this game where we're basically just having the extra piece. Should be a pretty easy win. Just to like develop the bishop, or I can simply take at this point and force a lot of trades. Just like take a knight e4. I don't really expect opponent to play pawn captures. That would be surprising. I think it's best move, but don't really see it coming. She dies and he get pregnant? Wait. That doesn't sound like the normal chess movie. I just get so many trades now with the extra piece. It's gonna be such an easy win. C3, just queen back. Yeah, I knew you're trolling. I knew that, of course. Okay, long castles. We should checkmate my opponent somehow. Or just exchange his pieces. That's fine by me. Just gonna go bishop f5. You know that I'm about to play queen e3 next. There's like no question about that. Just get it. get the queens off, go for the endgame. It's gonna play like rook d3, get a knight to like c4. Oh, he just plays rook d2. Pretty strange, but we're just gonna be taking the queen, moving the knight away. Go rook c8, push the pawns, double up. One is still fighting, but I have to remember to show you like the quick mate in the car, because I actually didn't manage to show it in this game. Still, we managed to win like the free piece quite easily, but it's about getting the checkmate in this variation, really. Okay, just gonna activate the rooks, bring it over, push the pawn, do it like this. Yeah, just gonna follow my own advice. D4 is being threatened. Go DC. If allowed, so probably king b1 and then just b5, b4. Could also throw in rook f4, hitting this. My god, opponent's taking forever on every move. But that's fine, because we're about to open it up on the queen side, and I don't think he should be able to resist for long. He's gonna be methodically improving the position, going b4 next. I don't mind the trade of rooks again. Trading is always gonna help us convert. Would be useful to bring my king though. Not gonna lie with that. So, if I take, he could potentially use that file. So I think we just try to bring the king. Also could make a move such as g5. Fix these pawns. Does that make any sense? Yeah, maybe just do h6. Fix the pawns. Could have played g5, but that's a little weird. Yeah, if he plays king b3, maybe we take. Okay, so he does it this way to use the a file. Just take and play rook f4 against that. Or like knight c6 even. Both are fine. He wants this, so we take. Play rook f4. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that arrow. Just here, pick up f3. Gonna do rook d3 or go passive. You know I like passive opponents. Gonna go there. Pick up b5 pawn. Okay, now I need to show you the quick checkmate because opponent flags. So, unfortunately, opponent played bishop d3. But you have to trust me on this one. In 99% of your games, and this has been calculated, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna play here, and most of the times, white will do something like this. We play queen b6, we hit their knight. They're gonna get scared, play knight e2, and now we get to check them. King has one square, they're gonna go here, and then need to remember this move because we can deliver checkmate. So that's how you can win with the Caro-Kann, literally in 7 moves, if they play the fantasy. Happens all the time, below 1700, even 1800. Like, play this variation even on my main account, and white is usually getting in pretty clumsy position. Like, you may be wondering, okay, but you cannot be winning with black from the opening. So, here, knight e3 is best line. This is what I give in my course. Queen b6, and now the point is to play knight e4. I have to give a check. Hit a knight, have to play c3, and now I take on g1. Go d4. Idea for black, play knight e7 and castle next. With playable game. You don't really care about this too much because you're gonna get the mate in 7 moves. But white is a bit better in these lines with best play. But okay, like, trust me, if you're playing this in lower rated games, nobody will really know how to play these positions as white. Okay, we're facing one e4. They're gonna be going for the rock solid Caro-Kann and see what this person has in mind. Looks like we're facing knight c3, meaning that we're gonna be attempting to get a Tartakower structure by playing knight f6. I think this is by far the easiest way to play against the classical variation with 3 knight c3, and we see knight f3. This is what most of the people will do against you, I think below 2000 rating. Here, the, let's say, most testing variation is to play c3, and then white could be attempting to play bishop d3, queen c2, and go for some kind of a long castle plan. Bishop e3, played like that, throwing the h-pawn. Interesting stuff, a lot of theory. Pretty sure we're going to be running against this idea later on in the series. But for now, we just have what is known to be pretty harmless setup. We're going to go bishop d6, and now there are basically two main ideas that we need to watch out for. I'm expecting them to castle short, and then it's pretty much important whether they play with bishop e2 or whether they play with without bishop e2. So either this or bishop c4. So when they go to d3 and c4, this bishop will normally go to g4. When it goes to e2, bishop g4 is less effective because it's no longer creating a pin. So that's the only idea to keep in mind. And also, remember, we always prioritize castling. Like, common mistake that I see my students make is they just start with bishop g4 here, which after you heard the reasoning, it's clearly an inaccuracy because we're just showing our intentions a little bit too early, and white can simply play bishop e2. And now we get into that line when we see the bishop on e2 and we will play without bishop g4. If that makes any sense. I hope it does. So, bishop d6, prioritizing development, get ourselves castled, and on the next move, we will pin the knight, if possible. And the idea is whenever they do h3, we want to keep the tension. So, against the classical variation with knight c3, Tartakower structure, whenever we play bishop g4, the goal is to keep the tension. Now, if you think about it, like the advance after e5, c5, c3, in those positions, whenever we get bishop g4, it will be mostly about meeting h3 with takes. So you can try to write down these kind of rules and make it easier to understand. What you don't want to do is just think of, okay, it's Caro-Kann, they play h3, we keep the bishop. Because just thinking of it as it's Caro-Kann, it's a bit too vague, and you can't really get in these kind of details to help you during the game. So you really want to break it down in your head, such as, okay, we have this set of rules against the classical variation. We have set of rules against the advance, and set of rules against the exchange, which leads to the Carlsbad structure. So now back to our game. Opponent goes bishop e3, can occupy the file or play knight d7. I think I like to start with the rook usually, but sometimes it's not making a difference. So remember, against h3 we keep the tension. Try to bring the knight then to f8. When we see this move, we're like pretty happy because the enemy king is gonna be pretty vulnerable. You can just step back, and if they take, we're gonna be getting a pretty dope pawn cube. If they don't, I'm just gonna go knight d7 and potentially try to reach the f4 square for my knight, which is now pretty weak because of this g4 move. See knight h4. Yeah, I think you can still sort of ignore it, hoping we get to see the pawn cube. Opponent, please take on g6. I really want to get the pawn cube, and there you have it. This is really like one of the nicest pawn structures, I think. This is clearly really fun when we get it, and it's very strong. Our king is just like so safe all the time. And unfortunately, I might have to break the pawn cube. Not gonna be doing it immediately, but in the future, I'm gonna be playing g5 and then knight g6. And this pawn is great because it's fixing these squares. So opponent goes queen b3. Now, if I want to be like really tricky, I could make this move. Giving him a little bait, and then we can set up the battery, and that could lead to a checkmate. I think we're gonna do this. Problem for him is that f4 drops the e3 bishop there. So he's not gonna be having a way to stop my queen from entering. And also important that this is not a move since knight's protecting it. Yeah, so he goes there. He saw it. Like queen d6, now he has f4. That was a good move. Now, I could still do this, and if he takes, there's queen d6, f4, pawn captures, but then bishop captures with tempo. So I could do g5. No. So g5, he goes queen b7, queen d6, f4, and we have like some rook to b8. I would say this one. Rook takes on b2. I really feel like his position's really vulnerable there. I don't see like an immediate win, but that feels pretty good. Now, there's no need to sacrifice the pawn, obviously, but it just feels to be working quite well. So, could also start with queen d6. I think I'll just do g5 first. Spending a lot of time on this decision. It's probably doesn't make any difference, frankly speaking. Just like to look for these kind of details, but yeah, not the most practical spot, I think. Okay, queen b7, queen d6, f4. I realize we've got another pretty good idea, which is knight e6. Hitting f4. That might actually be pretty important. Even though rook b8, rook takes on b2 is great. So king g2 just wants to play it passive because these guys are passive guys in lower elos. That's what we like to see. Threatening mate. He defends. Now it's time to bring the knight. Now, pay attention here. Do not play knight g6 because they can take. And you're going to cry. So, you don't want to cry. Let's just play knight e6. Point in the previous line is obviously that the pawn is pinned, so we can't recapture. And yeah, now just threatening to play knight 4. Bishop takes, queen takes, and I think his king is really, really weak. Threatening rook e1 and queen h2. Taking definitely feels very risky. So he goes bishop c4. Idea if I take, he wants bishop f7. I could do b5 kind of thing. Force bishop takes, rook takes, we're better there. His king is weak, that's fine. I think I like that just to keep up that tempo. Keep up the momentum. Hit a bishop. Takes, take it with a rook, preparing to double up. King is kind of vulnerable. You could do bishop d2, we don't really mind. I think we just double up. Go c4. Not really creating any serious threats. I can just take and play rook e8. I can ignore it. Taking feels kind of natural. He's got like weak pawn 2. This is pretty well defended. Just gonna be bringing rooks to the open file. Also do rook b8, rook b4. I think just bringing it towards the e file is good enough. Okay, opponent keeps disconnecting. I hope he doesn't disconnect. That would be a pretty bad finish to this game. Okay, he's back. He's gonna take. He will. Yeah, bring the rook. For him, it's pretty tough to make moves now. I think next I want to play rook e4. Just kind of improve my position little by little. I don't see a clear path to victory. Maybe there's none. But one day, maybe this and take. Like, I'm clearly very safe everywhere. Okay, after this, now I've got a huge check. Just a monster check on d5. f3. He's just not going to be able to save this, I think. There must have been something like bishop f4 takes rook e2 maybe. I don't know. I would have to calculate, but okay. Now, this is clearly getting worse and worse for my opponent. I can throw in this move, but there's b4. Maybe there are some weird tactics that could work out in my favor. But I think just queen f3 should be good. Proving my queen's position, trying to win in a simple way. Bishop f4. After we get rid of this bishop, it's not gonna be having any way to protect. And by the way, funny frat, we might be making this just in time for the huge check. Yes, huge check and funny frat. So this is really like the simplest, maybe the most instructive win. I think I might end up playing it. Yeah, bishop f4 I think is by far the most instructive. Just winning with no tactics. Bishop g3, we're being fancy, that wins. But I think most instructive is just to play. Make no moves and win. See, like do nothing special. Just occupy the weak square. See, now he kind of regrets playing g4. I would assume maybe he doesn't play next game. We'll never know. But yeah, on bishop d2, there are many wins. Easiest is just trade queens and then collect on e1. And if he doesn't do anything, just take twice on e3. He's going to be getting checkmated. He's literally playing down a rook here on h1. Not literally, but his rook is very inactive, which really matters here. And my king is super safe all the time. Look at this king. Such a happy camper. Just chilling. This king, not so much. We had to break the pawn cube, which is pretty unfortunate, but still a pretty nice structure to have. I'm really liking these blue colors on the pawns. I think it's the nicest one on chess.com. Not sure how you guys feel. I think it's looking pretty nice. Okay. Opponent taking his time. Unfortunately, it's a bit too late to go into the tank. But yeah, I guess he's just realizing what's about to happen. So we're gonna see. He just plays b4. Maybe he doesn't even realize. That is not our problem. Just gonna be taking. Again, make no moves. No fancy stuff. No rook e3. Just keep it simple. Take with the bishop. Take with the rook after. Could actually throw in a check on g3. That might be a little bit more accurate, but I think everything wins here pretty quickly. So no even need to go for intermezzo. Just exchange the pieces. Do not trade queens because we're about to mate him. Take with the rook on e3. Hit the queen. Keep an eye on this. He's gonna do that, but can simply play rook e2, threatening mate and hitting the queen. Also rook d3 I guess wins, but this is simplest here and here. So yeah, we basically had to make no tough moves. Just maybe the toughest thing that we had to do was that maneuver with bishop c7, setting up the battery. But other than that, everything was just pretty standard. Got a pawn cube, went for the battery, fixed his weakness, and yeah, just doubled up. Throw in a check sometimes can be good. Use the weak square, take the outpost, and win because his rook is inactive.